else, pal.
These are the top most badass superhero scenes. Be sure to leave a like and a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. The Joker's bank robbery scene. As the heist progresses, the clowns start killing each other to obtain a bigger piece, until a school bus smashes through the bank's wall, killing another clown. After being shot with an automatic rifle after attempting to take out the clowns with a shotgun, our mafia bank manager informs the last clown that he has no idea who he is dealing with. The clown kneels down and tells the banker, "I believe that whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger," before removing his mask to show himself to be the Joker. Joker puts a grenade into the banker's mouth and boards the bus, leaving a cord attached to the pin. The bus pulls out with all of the bank's cash and the pin pops out. It is just a gas grenade. The Joker joins a long line of school buses, leaving the scene as the police arrive. Thor vs. Hulk fight scene. While Stark and Rogers try to restart the damaged engine, Romanoff tries to stop Dr. Banner from transforming into the Hulk and destroys the ship from within. Her effort fails, and she is pursued throughout the ship until Thor takes up the struggle to quiet the beast, momentarily knocking him out with a blow from his hammer, Mjolnir. Romanoff smashes Barton into a guardrail while battling him, and the hit to the head destroys Loki's mental control. Thor is fooled into Loki's holding cell after the Hulk falls from the ship by Loki himself, who has retrieved his scepter and releases the cage, allowing Thor to drop. Agent Coulson temporarily holds Loki at bay, but he is also duped by one of Loki's hologram representations, and Coulson is stabbed in the back by the actual Loki. Later, Coulson blasts Loki with an unnamed device that harnesses the power of the Destroyer. Coulson is killed while Fury attempts to save him. Thor escapes from the jail just in time to strike the Earth. After crashing into an abandoned factory, Banner awakens in his human form. The Joker vs. the Batman. Meanwhile, all of the senior mob figures are gathering privately in a restaurant kitchen. The Joker and his henchmen barge in, telling the guests that they are the entertainment for the evening. When Rachel walks forward, the Joker scans the room for Harvey Dent. He grabs her and pulls a knife on her, telling her a different account of how he got his scars, claiming that his wife was scarred by loan sharks and that he cut himself with a razor to make her smile, but she left him over it. Rachel kicks him away, and he comes after her, stating he enjoys her little fight, until Batman appears and knocks him down. A battle breaks out between Batman, the Joker, and his minions, with the Joker and the thugs thoroughly pounding on Batman. When Batman recovers control, he notices the Joker putting a pistol to Rachel's head while dangling her out of a shot-out window. Batman orders him to let her go, to which the Joker responds, "Very poor choice of words," and lets her fall. Batman leaps out the window and saves her by using his cape to slow their fall. As they collide with the top of a passing automobile, the Joker appears to disappear from the scene. While being transported in a huge semi-truck, Harvey, the Joker, and his men begin attacking police cars. He pulls out an RPG and fires at the armored truck transporting Dent. The Tumbler appears and tries to stop the Joker, but gets struck by one of the Joker's RPGs. His automobile sustains catastrophic damage, forcing him to evacuate. The ejection in this automobile, however, is a bike, the Batpod, which deploys from the front of the vehicle. Batman pursues the Joker on his Batpod and flips the truck totally over after firing some wires at it and twisting them between some light posts and buildings. The Joker appears, brandishing a Smith & Wesson M76 submachine pistol, and shoots at Batman, who races towards him on his Batpod, yelling for him to strike him. Batman follows his own non-lethal rule and swerves around the Joker before crashing into the flipped truck and collapsing. As the Joker attacks him with a knife, one of the SWAT cops puts a shotgun to the back of his head, revealing that it was Lieutenant Gordon who faked his death to protect his family. The Joker is taken to the MCU. Harvey exits the vehicle and gets into a cruiser, claiming he's going to see a worried girlfriend. Spider-Man vs. Air Elemental Drones. Peter gets up and goes to Tony's computer to make himself a new outfit before they fly to London to rescue his pals. The class is on a tour bus tour of London, but it is being driven by one of Beck's henchmen. They come to a halt on London Bridge as Mysterio prepares the air elemental for assault. Spidey appears in a new combat costume. Happy rushes to retrieve Ned, MJ, Betty, and Flash, but his plane is destroyed. And they are forced to hide in a medieval tower as drones pursue them. They hide in a chamber, but MJ manages to knock down a drone with a mace before being imprisoned. Spidey penetrates the air elemental's illusion and webs all of the drones together, causing them to crash and ruin the illusion. He goes on to kill additional drones until being surrounded by Mysterio and facing a swarm of drones aiming at him while under an illusion. Spidey uses his spider sense to avoid and destroy all of the drones, and one of them shoots Mysterio in the process. Peter tries to rescue Edith, but Beck's final effort to kill him fails, leaving Beck to die in shame. Peter then turns off all of the drones. Following that, he and MJ dash onto the bridge to meet. They recognize their shared sentiments by kissing. Fury attempts to reclaim Peter, but Happy urges him to leave the youngster alone because he's with his new girlfriend. The students return home. Peter meets with Happy and May to discuss their apparent budding connection, but while Happy believes they're a couple, May believes they are simply having a fling. Peter then goes on a date with MJ as Spidey. He takes her for a ride around the city, despite her fear of heights. Captain America vs Loki fight scene. If Earth's mightiest heroes are to stop Loki and his alien army from enslaving mankind, they must band together and learn to fight as a team. Steve Rogers, Chris Evans, on the other hand, is quite straightforward to track down. S.H.I.E.L.D. has been monitoring him since he was discovered alive under the ice. Rogers' first mission is to travel to Stuttgart and apprehend Loki before bringing him aboard the helicarrier. Loki is at a sophisticated black tie banquet at an art institution, kidnapping a doctor who possesses the ingredient required to make the Tesseract function. Loki executes his plan as Dr. Selvig makes a distraction and Hawkeye kills the guys defending the building. Outside, he is telling the citizens present that they must kneel before him or else, and that freedom is the great deception of life. However, one elderly man defies Loki and prepares to smite him down. The deadly shot, however, is expertly stopped by Rogers' shield as Captain America before he moves to meet the deity. As Rogers confronts Loki, Tony makes his entry to the tune of AC/DC's Shoot to Kill, with full Iron Man armaments drawn, challenging Loki to make a move. Loki swiftly surrenders when the two heroes arrive, and the jet encounters a lightning storm while being transported to the high-tech jail on board the helicarrier. Hulk vs the Soldiers. Bruce and Betty are strolling across the college campus to the bus terminal the next day when Betty stops to alter Bruce's shirt, making him more trendy. He notices a soldier moving behind a column of one of the buildings and instructs her to get as far away from him as she can. As the soldiers close in, she searches for the command van and persuades Ross to come out, imploring him to stop. He dismisses her request and summons the rest of the crew. Bruce enters a library and removes his rucksack. He pulls out the drive and shoves it down his throat before continuing. However, the military have caught up to him, and they have trapped him on an overpass as Blonsky pushes in. They launch 2 canisters of knockout gas onto the bridge, but Banner morphs and leaps off. He starts attacking the soldiers, leaping all about them and wrecking their vehicles, but Blonsky rushes in and hops all around Hulk like a mosquito, peppering him with grenade launcher bullets. He manipulates Hulk into following him into the line of 2 sonic blasters that pelt Hulk with sound waves, but Hulk spots Betty crying out and manages to rip them apart using 2 bits of a nearby sculpture. Blonsky becomes enraged and approaches Hulk, only to be smashed into a tree, fracturing every bone in his body. Ross sends a chopper to arrive just as Betty sprints towards the Hulk. Hulk tosses a piece of the statue at the chopper, which crashes and creates a massive inferno that envelops Hulk, who envelops Betty and protects her from the flames, albeit she falls unconscious again. Hulk stares at Betty and notices Ross and Spar standing nearby. He snarls at Ross, then turns and walks away. 2. Spider-Man vs Mysterio. Peter travels to meet with Fury and Maria to discuss Beck's actual motivations, but it turns out that Beck has caught up to Peter first and has set up an entire illusion to trap him in. He mocks Peter for not being the hero he aspires to be, and even compels him to watch a projection of Tony bursting from his grave and terrorizing him. Fury comes to control Beck and asks Peter who else he told about Beck, to which he reveals that he told MJ, Ned, and that Ned most likely told Betty. This turns out to be another of Beck's ruses, and he now knows how to murder Peter's buddies. He also directs Peter into the path of a train, which seems to strike him, although Peter is just not seriously injured and passes out on the train. Mysterio vs Water Elemental. The first destination for the class is in Venice, Italy. Peter attempts to approach MJ. Suddenly, however, the groundwater levels begin to rise. Soon after, a giant water elemental begins to wreak havoc on the city, flooding it or destroying structures with water. Peter tries to intervene, but he has left his Spider-Man outfit in the motel. Beck appears and fights the water elemental with his abilities. He is able to suppress the creature's strikes before eventually splitting it in half. He is regarded as a hero by Peter's classmates, who begin to refer to him as Mysterio after seeing a news broadcast on him. Loki vs. Thor fight scene. Thor, Chris Hemsworth, Loki's half-brother and the Norse god of thunder, comes and attempts to capture Loki in order for Loki to face Asgardian justice for his crimes, which will be more effective than Earth's, but Thor is thwarted by Rogers and Tony. The conflict comes to a halt. Loki is eventually hauled to the helicarrier and confined in a glass cell built to house the Hulk. Fury warns that if Loki tries to escape, even by smashing the glass, a hole will open beneath him, sending him plummeting to Earth and probably killing him. Hulk vs. Blonsky, the Abomination. Blonsky knocks Spar unconscious from behind as she is interviewing Stearns. Stearns is afraid, but Blonsky says he wants Stearns to transform him into what Bruce transforms. Stearns is eager to comply for reasons unrelated to Blonsky's threats, but he warns Blonsky that the end outcome, given what Blonsky already has, might be an abomination. Blonsky raises Stearns to the ceiling and declares that this constitutes informed consent, and the ball begins to roll. Stearns' technique takes hold as Betty and Bruce enjoy a moment in the chopper, and, now the abomination, crashes the whole lab, dumping chemicals over Stearns, whose head bubbles strangely and begins to grow wider and flatter as he grins. Blonsky rushes outside and begins tearing up the streets and troops left behind. And one of the soldiers sends a message to Ross saying, "The Hulk is loose." Ross looks to Banner, who is equally surprised, and adds, "That's impossible." They manage to get a video of the abomination ripping up the city. Bruce knows that there is only one thing that can stop it, and Ross agrees. They walk over to the construction site and open the rear entrance. Betty urges Bruce not to do it, stating they don't know whether he'll change, but he insists on trying. They kiss, and he then allows himself to fall backward. He gets over the building level and says, "Oh, she." Down the street from the abomination, a massive hole emerges in the middle of the pavement. The Hulk carefully pushes himself out of the hole, roaring. Blonsky listens and smiles as the two creatures rush toward one another. They leap and connect in mid-air, Blonsky leading the way, briefly dazzling Hulk and pounding him down the street. Hulk brushes it off before ripping a police cruiser in half and launching it at the abomination. Blonsky absorbs the blow before unleashing his own, striking Hulk through a building and all the way downtown. As Ross orders the helicopter gunner to commence fire on Blonsky, the abomination roars in joy and pursues after him, scaling over and over buildings to catch up. Blonsky narrowly avoids all of the gunshots and catches up to Hulk, pummeling him more before choosing to steal the copter. When Hulk discovers Betty in there, he roars and grabs Blonsky, forming a copter abomination Hulk chain. The pilot claims that there is too much weight on her and that he must land her, as Hulk and Abomination continue their struggle on the landing struts. The fighting grows too much for the helicopter, and it crashes near a building site, as is always the case. Blonsky continues to hammer on Hulk while Betty and Ross extract themselves from the rubble. A spark from the main rotor strikes a gas puddle beneath the helicopter. When Hulk notices this, he grows angrier and larger, and manages to push the abomination away just in time to generate a sonic boom, which extinguishes the flames by creating a limited vacuum. Meanwhile, the abomination has discovered a massive chain with two mace-like attachments on the end and is happily swinging it at Hulk. Hulk gets beneath it, grabs the chain, and wraps it around Blonsky's neck. He tightens his grip, knocking Blonsky out. When Betty yells out, "Stop!" he pulls it tighter, desperate to eliminate the cause of his grief and agony. When Hulk sees her, he calms down and obeys. Hulk tosses the abomination to settle at the feet of Ross before letting free with another triumph shout. For a little period, all is silent. No one moves as the Hulk looks about suspiciously at all the small people with noisy weaponry as a second helicopter comes with a searchlight screaming. Hulk screams in fury and returns to the rooftops, fleeing. Be sure to leave a like and a comment, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification.